Good morning, my fellow creatives. Welcome to my channel. It's Belinda here from Visualise DNZ. And I'm super happy to be part of another collaboration with Rach and Angela Crafts. And this is a collaboration that also involves Angela Kerr designs. So the two have paired up and created a beautiful kit. Well, two halves of the kit. So half is available from Rach and Angela Crafts and half is available from Angela Kerr Designs. I will put all the links in the description box below. Rachel makes up a link tree with all the different links, which makes it super easy for everybody to access everything needed as part of this collaboration. So I've printed off a bunch of pages from both kits and also the freebies that are available from both of the lovely ladies. So Rach from Rach and Angela Crafts and Angela from Angela Kerr Designs. I haven't printed them all off. I just kind of off the screen went through a bunch of what I thought would work well for the project I'm going to be doing with you today. So that's these pages I have just stacked up here. I've kind of crisscrossed them according to whose kit they came from. Hopefully I can remember. This is the program for this collaboration, which is called craftysummersimples. And I'm feeling very much in need of some summer warmth. My hands are frozen. Huge -1 degree frost, that's Celsius if you work in a different temperature range. -1 degree Celsius frost this morning. It's white outside. It's gone 9:15 in the morning and we've made it up to 1 degree. Like, it is so cold. So I'm really, going to enjoy focusing on some beautiful, summery, bright, happy images. They might warm my hands a little, or at least take my mind off how cold my hands are. So this is the program. I am on the 13th here, and Angela herself is also doing a video today, so I'm looking forward to seeing what she's doing today. Both Angela and Rachel have done a number of videos through this collaboration. I'm a little behind in my watching, but from what I've seen, there is some awesome projects coming out, all designed to rejuvenate, revitalize your crafting time. If you're feeling a little kind of uninspired or maybe too tired or short on time, just get your mojo back. That's the whole principle of this collaboration. Simple projects that you can just turn to when you need a little oomph. We all get to that slump where we just need a little fresh oomph. And so this is going to be an amazing resource to go back to when you hit a slump, and obviously we just can't remember all the ideas. So you can refer back to this collaboration and pick one out and go, watch that, and then it's like, yes, I can do that. I've got 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, whatever, or it's really appealing to you at that time. So awesome. I think this is a brilliant idea for a collaboration. So that's that. This is available. This printable is available from Rach and Angela Crafts on her Ko-fi page. And one of the other, she's got several freebies, but this is one I particularly wanted to show you. I, again, think this is an amazing idea, Rachel. This is like a checklist for making a junk journal. So you can print it off for every journal you make, or just keep it up like on your wall as a reference list. Breaking down the different parts that you will want to make a journal. Really, really good if you're a newbie, but I think also for old hats at this game, just a really great checklist, visual reminder of everything that you need for a journal. So it talks about the color palette, the cover, the pages, the theme or why you're making the journal, extras that you might want to include, embellishment ideas, and then an area for notes, for your own notes of what you might specifically want to add into the journal. So pop along to Rach's Ko-fi, grab this freebie, and keep it as a reference or print it off as many times as you like. One for each journal, I think will be brilliant. So really wanted to pick that out and show you that. Completely free. Right, so let's get into my project for today. And my project today is super simple. It's a super simple crafty idea. stamps. I've grabbed out a variety of my stamps, but limited myself. Like, I've got tons of stamps. I've just kind of picked through and thought out what would be the most useful for my project for today. I'm going to stick to black ink today, so I've got my VersaFine Onyx Black and a couple of stamping blocks and the digital pages, and that's all we need. Oh, you'll probably want scissors, maybe some fussy cutting scissors. I'm hoping to use some of our stamping to make a few little projects just to show you how we might then use them. That's, you know, we might need glue depending on how far we get, but pretty simple. If all you have is a couple of stamps, you don't need heaps of stamps like I've got. You know, I might have a little stamp problem. Let's just call it a good resource. That's much better than a problem. A stamping block. If you don't have a stamping block, you can also use the lid of your stamp pad or the back of your ruler or whatever. You know, there's always options for you guys. You don't need black ink. You could use whatever ink you've got. I prefer black for this type of project, particularly because we're using patterned backgrounds. So I want the stamping itself to show up really nicely. It's also my favourite stamp pad. So there you go. Sorry, I do also have a hot cup of blackcurrant and apple drink. Partly to warm my insides and partly to warm my hands because they're so cold. So I might be sipping that through this process just to warm my hands and my tummy. Okay, let's grab out a page. I'm going to start really, really simple. So let's just grab out the pages here. I'm just looking for a relatively plainish background to start with. Please excuse, I've got a bit of ink on my hand from some mark making I was doing this morning. Maybe this one, and this is from Angela's kit, and it's this beautiful pale blue and with a white pattern on it. Hopefully you can see that. It looks very dark when I look at the camera. So hopefully my lighting's okay. So to start with, I'm just going to, as I said, go really, really simple, and we're going to grab out some words. This is a newer stamp set. I picked it up secondhand, and I'm really loving playing with it. It's got these lovely set of words here, and then some smaller words here. So I'm just going to, I think, go with these larger ones, and they've got a little border around them. So let's take the first one. Actually, I might multi-stamp, so I might line a few of these up, as many as will fit on my block. Great in front of TV activity, this one. Stamping. It's my go-to when I'm feeling either uninspired or too tired to tackle a decent sort of a project where you've got to think about it and do lots of things. You know, this is definitely my go-to. Now I've got room for one more. Do I want time or story? Maybe story, I think. I don't think I've got room to put one across the end there. I think they're too long, but I'll try it. No, too long. Okay, so we'll just do the 4. So good way to increase your action. Your stamping is getting 4 at once, or however many fit on your block. I could have gone for the larger block, but there we go. We have this now. The only thing that you might have to watch is if your stamps are different heights. You know, if they're not from the same set, or sometimes even from the same set, they can be different heights, and you'll get some that won't stamp properly. So I'm just going to put these up in the corner. I haven't lined them up with each other because it doesn't matter. They'll be individually cut out. Give them a nice press and a moment there for the ink to transfer. Not perfect, but good enough. Not everything has to be perfect. That's it. You know, try and embrace the imperfections as just being a really cool, distressed vibe for our junk journals. Imperfect is perfectly okay in our junk journals. And sometimes it's actually even better than a perfect stamping. So I'm just going to leave it at that because you don't need me to like do a whole page of these. You get the idea. So I'm going to take a moment just to clean them off with a wet wipe here. I don't know how wet it is anymore. And typically I would stamp this off onto a blank bit of paper, but I didn't grab one out today, so we'll just give it a clean. Right, so that's the first really basic idea. Grab a background that you like, grab some word stamps and go for it. Just stamp to your heart's content. Then second part of the project, you can sit there and fussy cut them out or chop them up with a guillotine or a paper trimmer, whatever you like. So that's idea number one. Super, super simple. And that's the name of the game here, is simple. Okay, for the next part, I'm going to grab out a different one. This is also from Angela. This beautiful page. Half of it's got kind of this quilted pattern and then this floral on the other side. So I might be ducking back to these stamps, so I'm just going to stick them on the back of the acetate for now and worry about putting them away properly later. So, like I said, I may actually be grabbing back for them. So this time I'm going to go labels, and we're going to do some label stamping. Now none of these ideas are new, guys. This is designed to be just basic projects, simple projects you can turn to. So if it's not new to you, there may be some it's new to, but if it's not new to you, I don't know, just have fun. Maybe stamp along with me. That would be a good idea if you've got a moment while you're watching. Let's do some stamping with me. So I've got these set of cheap label stamps. They work really well in lots of different sizes and styles, and then there's this lovely circle one. I love adding circle elements to my projects. I think sometimes it's just the right touch that's needed as a circle element. I think I'll go for my larger one here, if I can get it off that backing. Here we go. My fingers aren't working properly, being so cold. And again, I'm just going to, oh, I've got some air bubbles under the stamp. Just want to get those out. Air bubbles between your block and your stamp can stop it stamping correctly. So do be aware of that. I don't know that I've actually used this one yet. So just, again, cover your page, or as much of it as you like, with various label stamps. Beautiful. And you'll get these gorgeous little snippets of colour to use in other projects. And if you're making a journal with this kit, then how perfect is it to custom make your own little embellishments, your own labels to use that coordinate perfectly, but equally useful for any other project. Doesn't have to be with this kit, does it? So just these gorgeous wee snippets. I will hope to cut some of these out so you can get a better idea of what they look like when they're cut out. Right, so done a few of that. Let's do some of the square one, the square frame. You know, digitals, we tend to perhaps mostly do stamping on scraps left over from projects. But if you're needing a good project and you don't have scraps, just print off a few pages and have fun. They're digitals. You can reprint them as many times as you like. Right, that's probably enough. I'm getting carried away here because I'm having fun. I just really enjoy this process of stamping and the cutting out as well. Just pop the lid on that for a moment. So that's just on any sort of background that you like. Just take snippets and stamp. Okay, next idea is very similar, but we're going to use a different type of paper. So I'm going to go to Rach's kit for this. Grabbing out Rach's and just pop that one aside. I've got one here that's not for stamping on, so I'm putting that aside so I don't. Right, it's that one, or that one. Which one do I want to do? I think I'll do this one. Okay, so I'm going to work with this part here. So we've got this scene with this woman in the kitchen doing some cooking, well, or about to do some cooking, or has done some cooking. Just going to warm my hands for a moment here. And we're going to use this to make labels, but little vignette labels, little mini scenes. So it's a good idea if you've got clear stamps to just kind of place your stamps and work out what portions you might want, what stamp size or shape works for any particular bit. So straight away I can see that I would like these preserves down here, these jars of preserves would work really well in this square stamp. So this is a little more sort of thought involved, but fun as well. So I'm just going to line it up. Clear stamps just are amazing, aren't they? So you can totally see exactly where you are stamping and get it. And that's going to make the sweetest little image there. Just got a bit of ink on the edge of my block. Clean that off. So is there any other square element that we want? That pie there, or do we want all this? Actually, the chopping board below it with an egg and maybe flour or something there. Looks like it's making pastry or dough of some description. So that would be really cute in a little square frame there. And it doesn't matter if bits go outside the frame because you still get enough of the image to really show off what it is. It still retains its meaning. And this little bit here with the mixing bowl on the bench with a plate in behind, that's going to look really cute. So different way of using these beautiful collage type images. Now we've got a clock on the wall up here. Would that be, just looking at what other stamp, I think the square one would be probably the best one for this as well. So think about placement to best enhance this image. So we've got the clock right to the edge there, because I didn't want the blue covered, just a heavy blue strip. I thought that wouldn't look as good. You've got some spoons up there that would look really good in this square. And then I'm going to change my stamp out. And we'll do some different shapes. Oops. Clatter, clatter. Give that a wee clean off, because otherwise I'm going to just get ink on everything. Right, I'm thinking a rectangle. Maybe this one. Let's have a look. Let's see what this one will do. Because as you build, you start to be confined by areas that you've stamped. I'm wondering, I've got other label options. Might be one that fits a bit better. No, unless I didn't grab it out. maybe I didn't grab out the other set. That's all right, we'll just go with this one. It's not deep enough for her face. Actually, let's go with the bigger one first to get our lovely lady, smiling lady first. And we can do a lovely bit of the window in behind her. So you might not like people in your digitals. I know there's quite a few people who don't like using people. So you might not tend to use this type of image, but if you stamp on it and take all the bits around this lovely lady, then it's something you can still utilize. It's not going to be wasted. It's not going to be unloved or unused. But I think that's really lovely. So now swap back to that smaller rectangle. Now that we've got her, and then that will guide me on where I can stamp this one. So I'm going to get a row of those plates on the shelf. About there. Yeah, lovely. So there obviously will be bits that you do lose, but you can always print it again and stamp different parts. I love this little plates of apples here. I'm going to lose the jug, but that's okay. We can lose the jug. It's okay. You've got to make a decision which parts you keep and which you use. Now can we get... We'll get that pie, part of, not the whole pie, but we'll get enough of it, and the shelf beside it. And then maybe that little board down the bottom with, looks like tomatoes and garlic and chilies, all sorts of yummy ingredients. Making me hungry now. And just putting it to one end so we've got a background there at the end. Okay, so that's probably enough to give you the idea of how to use these types of pages in a different way, in a very simple, easy, quick project. So I'm just going to take a moment now and cut some of these out. I'll start with the first page that I stamped, so it's a bit drier. Actually, I just need to warm my hands up for a moment before I cut. So a very big welcome if you're new to my channel, if you found me through the collaboration. So happy to have you here. I hope you enjoy the video. How are you all enjoying the collaboration if you're following along? I'm always behind and watching, which is unfortunate. I started off really well, and then just life, you know, how it goes. I just couldn't keep up, but I will go back and watch them as I can. And for my own inspiration, you know, even as YouTubers, sometimes lack inspiration because life happens, or we've just been super busy and kind of burnt out or something. So that's what a word one looks like, with just this, maybe if I lift it a bit closer, just with this subtle pattern in the background. Gorgeous. So just cut out one of those. I don't need to cut them all to give you the idea. So let's take this first one down the bottom. I'm just trying to show you what they look like so you can go, oh yeah, actually they look really cool, because I think they look cool. If you're one of my regulars, also a warm welcome to you in this video. I'm so grateful to all of you for coming along and watching and hanging out with me for a time. Just it's you guys that make this whole thing worthwhile. Totally. Now on these ones with the little curves in the corner, I like to use a hole punch to cut them out. You can just cut them with scissors. Sometimes I do, just depending what mood I'm in. but the hole punch works really, really well. And it just gives your hands a break with doing a different action. Slightly different scissors. Just tip out the little crescents there. So we've got this cute little snippet of a label that you can pop on anything, and you can also add a word inside that if you like, or you could stamp a butterfly or what have you. Let's cut out one of these square ones as well. And I'm just using copy weight paper. I haven't printed on anything expensive or heavy because these are just little snippets to be layered up on things. So this has just got angled corners on this square. Quick and easy to cut round. Again, a fun part of a TV, in front of TV activity. So there we've got a cute little textured coloured label to use. Right, warm my hands again. Right, now this one. So this type of stamping, you are going to end up with gaps in between, which is absolutely fine because all that's going to do is provide you scraps for collaging, layering, what have you. So always fun. I'm going to take this preserves one because this might be my favorite little label. Just the little jars of preserves. So again, the square one's really easy to cut round, quite quick. And like I said, you don't need a gazillion different stamps for these projects. You use what you've got. I do find a good basic set of label stamps invaluable. So useful. So if you are looking to invest something along these lines, this is an unbranded one. But look for something like that if you're wanting to make lots of labels, because they are just super awesome. So there we go. There's, whoops, try and get it on camera. Hopefully it's focused. Cute little label with those preserves inside it. Fun. Right, next part of this is another new stamp set, and it's mushrooms. Just looking at which page I might want to use. So I'll pop that one aside. Let's grab out another something. Maybe this one. Sorry, I know I'm off camera, but so this one, this is beautiful little house in the country, and I have printed this off to use as a signature page, backed it with another of the pages. This is from Rach and Bella's kit, Rach and Bella Crafts. This one is printed on presentation paper, and this one on regular copy paper. And I don't know whether you can tell the difference. It may not show up in camera. The presentation paper is just slightly brighter on the colours than this one, and slightly crisper on the printing. So there's only like 20 GSM difference between the two papers. It does make a difference. And I'm just looking, is my printer printing lines again, or is that part of the design? It may be part of the design, because I haven't noticed it anywhere else. But I'm wondering if my printer is still having issues with printing lines, which is a pain if it is. Anyway, let's move on. I'm just having a quick... See, I can't see lines on this one. So maybe it's part of the design. It's just because I've had that line issue on my printer recently that's making me think, oh, is my printer still playing up? Let's ignore it. It's very subtle. You probably can't even tell. on camera. And I didn't notice until now, so we'll just assume it's okay. Right, so these cool mushroom stamps, again, cheap, unbranded, so you don't need to spend a lot on stamps. Be wary of fakes and forgeries. I try to be, but sometimes you still get caught out. You can only be as thorough as you can be. Like, you can't spend 10 years searching to see whether something's a copy of some branded stamp, can you? Well, I can't. But just be aware, there are originals of some things and then there are fakes. But this is a really lovely set. It stamps really well. I haven't used all of them yet. In fact, I think I've only used one. It's very new. So I'm just going to pick this one out, ink it up, and give it a good dose of ink since that's not been used before. And just pick anywhere on your piece of paper and stamp your image. And you can cover the whole thing, because what we're looking for in this is we're looking for the background to provide the color for the stamps. So it doesn't so matter, getting tongue-tied. Doesn't matter so much what's in the background. You're just looking for that color and texture. Go up there. Now you can fussy cut these, or you could cut them in squares or rectangles, or even circles, just depending what look you want. You could mix it up and do some of each. And you just get these lovely, lovely self-coloured focal points. Let's do one over here in the red, because you know, toadstools with their red caps are quite fun. Okay, so that's probably enough of those to show you the idea. And I didn't leave much between these, so these ones will be fussy cut. So I'm just going to separate them. Grab my little fussy cutting scissors, which drastically need the handles cleaning off. And I'm going to do a kiss cut rather than a fussy cut. So a kiss cut is where you leave a little bit of border around the image. You don't go right up to the image. And that is really useful technique where you've got like these little ferny bits here. There's no way you would cut around all those. So the kiss cut will allow you to cut just a border around the whole instead of trying to capture all those little very fine details. And again, with this style of stamping, you will end up with scraps. So boost up your scrap bin, bag, box, whatever you use to store your scraps in. And then you can make yourself up some masterboards. And aren't masterboards a fabulous, simple project to turn to when you're flagging an inspiration? Masterboards was the one thing that we couldn't do for this this collaboration, which I completely understand, because masterboards are everywhere and they're very well, well covered. So looking for other ideas. So try, if you're doing a kiss cut, try and sort of keep an even size border, but don't panic about it if it's not. It's very forgiving. I prefer to be very, very neat. It's the perfectionist in me coming out. I try and keep it as even as possible. Kiss cutting is also a little bit quicker than fussy cutting because it is more forgiving. You're not having to go into all those fine details. and there. So little scrap can go out. Now I do think I need to cut out this part in here, so just give me a moment. Just trying to think of the best way to do it. I haven't really got room to go in between the mushrooms to get in there, so I'm just going to make a little cross with my craft knife. Very carefully, because you don't want to tear your stamp in too. And then I can get the point of my scissors in and get in there and cut it out. Sometimes I don't do this, just depending on the image and how I want to use it. Some I think it really needs to happen, and some I think it's better off if you don't. So just use your own preference for deciding whether you cut out the little bits in between. Just struggling to get my scissors maneuvered there. There we go. So really cute, colourful, pretty group of 3 mushrooms to use on a project. Okay, another warm, hand warming session. I think this is too big for my hole punch, for my large hole punch. Well, for one, I can't get to it. So let's see if it will work. Cut a bit closer so I can reach the punch in there. It may not even fit. You know, it will fit if we just lose a little bit of some of the image. Hopefully this punch is okay. Actually, I might use another layer. Let's just use a bit of book page. Oh, 2 layers, that'll be fine. Just so it punches a little bit better than if I use the single layer. And I'll get 2 bonus book page circles to use in something. So I'm choosing to put the whole of the top in and cutting off some of the base. Yep, that punched like a dream using those layers. Oh, the cold's making my nose drip. Excuse me a moment. Ah, so cold. Right, just pop my scissors away. I like to try and keep a tidy desk as much as possible while I'm working, because it very quickly gets out of control. So there we have 2 different options for your stamped images. So you can do, like, this could be a square or a rectangle. I really like the circle though. And then we've got the kiss cut version. So yeah, achieving different looks for different projects, different purposes, different uses. Fun. There's so many ways you can do these, guys. So many ways. Tags. Let's grab out this page of tags. This is also from RachandBella Crafts Kit. And sometimes we don't want to use the tags as they are. They're beautiful. These are just gorgeous. But sometimes we want to make them our own by adding stuff. But we can also make them our own by taking parts of them and using them in a different way. And one of those ways is through stamping. So I'm going to put this one away now, the mushroom. And let's look at what else I might want to do. So using a different type of frame. This is from Squirrels and Frogs brand. I don't know if it's, a common brand everywhere. Don't know. And it's got these Postage stamp frames, which I really like, and then these elements fit inside, but you don't need to put them inside. We can do, I'm just going to grab this one. You can use them to create, again, little labels or little, in this case, faux postage stamps to use in your projects. So I'm thinking this lovely grandmother here. Assuming she's a grandmother. She might not be. One thing I'll never be is a grandmother, which is a bit sad, but that's the way life goes. Beautiful. And is there something else I'd like to use this on? So, you know, use your stamp to kind of line up to see what would work. Maybe that little vase of flowers, jug of flowers would be nice. And if I want to use these tags as tags, I can reprint. And you can too. Oops, I just managed to get ink all over my craft mat there and on my fingers. So let's just do a little clean up, because I don't want to create a giant mess. It's all too easy to do. Right, okay, let's clean that stamp off. So you can grab out things that are not, you know, if you've got stamps that aren't actually designed as frames like this, you know, these are definite frames, label stamps. You can often find sets of stamps that have something that can be used as a frame or a label, like that one. Another one I have here, which I like to use, this is Rosie's Studio. It's a Christmas stamp set called Cinnamon Sugar. Okay, that's the first time I know. I thought it was Christmas sugar, but it's actually cinnamon sugar. And it's got this lovely mason jar here, and I often will use this as a frame and then put something cool inside of it. So maybe that book with the cup and the flowers would look really cool. So let's do that one with this. And this wasn't an expensive set. It's old though, so it's probably not available, but there are other mason jar stamps available from various companies. So let's go about there. So look through your stamps that you do have and look at them a little differently as to how you could use them differently to what they were made for, if you know what I mean. Like this was made for a little vignette set of the wee winter house and tree and a polar bear, maybe some snowflakes or some words, and then there's a snow stamp there, which I often use for making dots on things. So let's do a bit of cutting. This one I did first, so I'm going to cut out the tag because I want to preserve as much of the bits I cut off as possible. I don't want to waste them, so I want to retain as much sizing as possible to use it for collage or other labels. Like I could totally stamp a label stamp there. And I'm not going to worry about the ins and outs of the postage frame. I'm just going to square cut around it. And normally I would do all the stamping and then all the cutting, but for the purpose of the video I really want to show you how cute they turn out. So I'm doing both the stamping and the cutting. Right, so yeah, totally, that would make a beautiful label stamp. So would this part, and then even one here done vertically would look cool. So there's that one. Just a cute little faux stamp. And let's do this jar, because this one's really cool. I love the effect of the jar. Now, if you don't want the pattern on the lid, what you can do is stamp it again on a plainer paper and then just cut out the lid itself and glue it on top so it's got a different color, so you don't have pattern or texture, because you know the lid is typically not see-through. So that is something I have done as well. But this, I'm fine with this background pattern on the lid. I think it's cute. This one I am fussy cutting right up to the edge as much as possible. I will ink around with distress ink when I go to use them, so any bits I haven't cut out as well will be inked up and therefore become unnoticeable. And I try and hold inside the stamped area so I'm not smudging any ink if it's not completely dry. A benefit of doing all the stamping and all the cutting is that it does give plenty of time for your ink to dry, and it will depend on the ink pad that you're using, because not all the inks dry at the same rate, and also the type of paper you're stamping on. So all these things to consider, but you know, you will have your own idea on your own supplies as to how long things take and what is danger zone for potential smudging. Totally a project you could do in 2 phases, like do stamping one night and do all the cutting the next, or over a series of nights. So isn't that cute? Like, how adorable, how freaking adorable is that mason jar? I just love it. Love, love, love. Okay, let's get on to another idea. Just trying to show you as many possibilities as I can. So just pop that one back in there. It's a very flimsy stamp is the only thing I would say about that one, but that's okay. Just looking in my stash for the stamp I'm after. This one, this flower. This is from Papercraft by Grace Taylor, and it's called This and That. Again, it's an old set. That star would be quite cool as well, but I want this flower in particular. Now this is solid. This flower is solid, so the petals are going to be solid whatever colour ink you use. But I thought it was a good way to show that even these solid stamps can be used on digitals. So I'm looking for a, how about this one? This is another quilted one. This is from Angela Kerr Designs, one of hers. And, oh, getting ink grubbiness everywhere. Ink it up. And let's just go right in this corner. Let's do another one. And actually I am tempted to change colour and do a colour for this as well. So we'll leave that for the black. I do love the crispness and the boldness of the black. Let's clean that and grab out a colour. What colour would I like? Would I like pink? It's quite a bright pink. Maybe this one, Crisp Cantaloupe from Stampin' Up, might, we'll give it a go. Might, oh, bit of cat fur. Let's remove that. We don't need that on our stamp pad. Cat fur gets everywhere. that's good enough ink, and let's just go down beside this one. The coloured inks, depending on the value of them, you know, how dark they are, you'll get more of the background showing through. So that didn't stamp overly well, but it's okay. It's still going to look cool. I'm going to do another one of those because they're more subtle. You get a different effect with the colour, that pale colour. Right, clean that off, and then I'm going to do one more colour. Maybe we'll go for a bolder. Not sure that red's the right option. Let's do blue. We can have blue flowers. There are blue flowers out there, isn't there? Like bluebells and larkspur. It's purple, but you know, it's blue. The blue tonings, I guess. Whoops, I didn't quite get all that stamp covered. Get that bit I missed. So again, this is a bit more see-through than the black, but should have a bit more coverage than this light one. So I'll just do one of those because we could just spend all day stamping the same thing over and over and I'd be quite happy, but you know, guys might get a bit bored. Right, just put that on the acetate for now. So let's grab one of each of these. And this one here as well. Now you could square cut these totally. I'm going to do a kiss cut once again. So grab out my wee scissors and I'll just cut these in apart. And you could also use a flower with that's just an outline, much like any of the other stamping we've done. I just specifically wanted to show you one that had solid image to show that they still can be used and you still get that beautiful background colour and texture. So just leaving a bit more of a border than I did on the mushroom image that I cut out. Hopefully I'm on screen. I'm sorry if I slip off screen at the bottom every now and then. Do have a tendency to do that lately. I better check the time, see how we're going, because I could just literally sit here all day and play if it wasn't for the fact that I'm super cold and the fire looks like it needs topping up. So the background is very subtle and you could use a more colourful, brighter background and you'd get a different effect, but sometimes you just want that subtle effect in the background. So I don't think I'll cut out all three because I think just two is probably quite sufficient for you to get the idea. And then think about what comes next in my idea bucket. I'm trying to think, have I forgotten anything? Because I had a loose plan, but I didn't bother doing a sample or anything because I was pretty confident, you know, after all, it's a simple idea. I was pretty confident that I would be able to get through it without kind of faltering and going, oh, I don't know what to do now. So that's the crisp cantaloupe. So you definitely get more of the background texture and colour popping through on this one than this one. But both are beautiful in their own right for different purposes. And then I'll just show you close up this one, which is a little bit different again because the blue's a bit stronger and a bit brighter, but you still get the texture popping through. Okay, so I've done labels. We've done labels on a plainer background, labels on a patterned background. We've done, what else have we done? We've done words, which could be on any type of background you like. We've done looking for things that perhaps aren't label so much, but which have an opening in the middle that can be used to frame something out. So there's our label with a image inside it, and then our labels with background texture plain in them, our words. And we've done using a background to stamp a more detailed stamp on, and then cutting that out in a variety of ways. And we've got our flowers. So am I missing anything out of my ideas that I had going into this video? I think we're going pretty well. How are we going on time? Oh, we're at time. So we've sucked up almost an hour of doing these few bits. Like, it just makes time go so quickly. But you don't have to spend a lot of time. You could do 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. Just give your brain a rest of struggling to come up with something, and just do some stamping. And you'll end up with lots of beautiful bits to use. Now, in terms of using these, you can use them anywhere that you would use any type of embellishment. I'm just going to grab out a tag here as an example, because I would like to finish on just an idea on using some of these bits. So I just grabbed the first one that was on the page, because they're all pretty. I didn't want to spend 5 minutes deciding which one to use. This is just on copy paper, so I would need to back it to make it a little bit sturdier. So we can, you know, add one of our stamped words on top. If it wasn't, you know, we'd need something of suitable size. This is probably a bit big. We'd need a thinner label, but we could add a label. We could stamp a word inside our label, or add a stamped butterfly. In fact, let's just quickly see if we've got, oh, this little butterfly, or yeah, I think I prefer the butterfly to the fly. Flies aren't as pretty, are they? Let's quickly just put a butterfly inside this label, because it is part of, you know, way you can mix it up. And that should fit in there. So you can double up your stamps and mix and match. Oh, stunning. And that was the perfect size from different sets. You could even use that as a cute little tag topper, like hang it over the top a bit, back it perhaps with another label stamped from a bit of paper, and back it with that so it's coloured on both sides. That would make a really cute topper. And then maybe a word down the bottom or something, and straight away you've made it your own. So there's that idea. Or you can make clusters. So grab a label, grab an image that you've stamped. We could use the postage stamp, add a flower somewhere. Might turn that round there. Sort of play with it until you're happy with the composition. Maybe something like that. And then where's our word? Here's our word. And then a word over top, and maybe a bit of ribbon or yarn or something, just to add a bit of texture. I've got a little bit of purple tulle, probably not the right colour, but let's just go with it because it was right on top of my scrap, and you can, you know, tuck it in somewhere like so, and then either glue it down, staple it, add some sewing, and you've got a cute little cluster to then, you know, imagine this is, we'll turn it over so it's like a blank tag, make this whatever background you like, and edit, and you've got a cute little cluster. So there are some of the ways that you can use all your stamped bits and pieces. So just have fun, relax, right into it, stamp to your heart's content, cut then as either the same session or a next session or whatever, and then build your stash of little bits so when you are inspired to tackle a bigger project, you've got ready-made bits ready to go. Nothing's ever wasted. Thanks so much for joining me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this summer simple idea. Simple for any time of the year, not just summer, even if it does make your hands really cold. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the collaboration. There's still some amazing creators to come, so make sure you check it out. Take care, everyone. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you back for another video.